Hello, welcome to the 8bitrocket interweb mashup video edition for today. We are going to go through some interesting information from the Mochimedia Flash Game Market Survey, and we're also going to do a review of a hilarious game that Steve found called Public Library.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. There's a specific reason why I chose it. So first, let's just look at this first slide. This is going to be a virtual commented on PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, this is on the Mochimedia site. On the link that you'll see on the page, there is this discussion of the information we're going to go through. Plus, they have this sort of flash showing a PowerPoint presentation. The text is a little small, so you're not going to be able to see too much of it, but you can view the entire thing by going to the link.
So anyway, we'll start out by last year, or this summer, right? This summer, Mochi did a market survey. I know we took it.
I took it.
I know a lot of other people took it. And apparently they got back over 1,100 responses, which is pretty good, I think, for what they're trying to show about their market. So let's go on to the first slide, and these are the highlights. Actually, we get to these highlights in a sec, so why don't we just go through. They talked about the potential for flash games, basically about how games had been both used for both political things and how some companies had taken their flash games and got a lot of success with them.
The big alien hominid being brought to a console, which I wanted to get but I didn't get yet, and Ninja Kiwi balloons going to the iPhone. Those are two fantastic examples.
Right. So anyway,
also the presidential shoe flinging game, which I played about 100 times, I think, was a good example.
See, and I love those types of games. So. All right, so on to next. They talked about how many people, what types of people took the survey, and it's mostly developers.
Yeah.
The other one in there is developer/publishers, which there are some, and we know out of those developer/publishers, many of those developer/publishers are really only publishers because they thought they could make a little bit more money that way.
Yeah, by putting their own games on their site.
The actual numbers here are the publishers that are 3%. So that's really who we're interested in, for this survey. All right, so this slide shows how many developers are also publishers. Again, we just talked about that. I think the 37 publishers over here are the interesting part, and the 836 developers that are also publishers are also interesting. To me, developers who are also publishers, again, we tried that ourselves, and I think you need to focus on one or the other.
I know a few that are doing it well.
So okay, and unless you have a lot of time to spend on that, I suppose.
There are definitely a few that are doing it really well.
All right, and so the next slide shows that mostly guys are in this industry.
And 97% male respondents to the survey. Maybe there's a lot more women. They just didn't want to answer the survey.
So the next one just shows that the industry is dominated by the United States and UK and then Eastern Europe, and we see a lot of South American. So I'm surprised that there's only says 2% for Brazil. That does surprise me a lot. I thought there were more. Anyway, next slide. Conversations. Okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
Developer questions.
So most developers are
hobbyists.
Which most are not making more than $500 to $1,000 a month, if that, on their games.
Yeah, and there's lots of different types of experience. I think a lot of people know, that there'll just be a range of experience. Most people don't have a lot of experience at all.
Yeah, I would assume
only
that
10% have 5 years or more, and that falls into a lot of people that we know.
So yeah, a lot of people don't have a lot of experience, and there aren't very many people making more than $10,000 a month off their games. About
10,000?
About 2% are making 10,000, and then about 5% are making 5,000. Everyone else is under that.
So on this, they say people have 30% have published more than 6 games. That's a lot of games, and we know because there's a lot of games out there. And most games get 500,000 plays, and I can attest that that's pretty much true.
Pretty much it.
I mean, it's not most games. I'm sorry, a good portion of games, 30% get 500,000 plays or more, and that seems to be sort of in the middle average for what we see too.
Yeah.
And basically, flash game developers work solo or in small teams, probably 1 or 2.
Let's hit that little detail for a second here. Basically, 60% work solo. And then about 29% work on independent teams. I'm not quite sure what the other 11% do. Is that with the other?
Where they work on large teams.
Yeah. but they must make they work on large teams, or maybe they answer to both, or something like that. So.
Okay, so game developers practice multiple disciplines. Yeah, we know a lot of Flash game developers also make music and graphics and stuff, and most do one of them well, which is the reason why some games succeed and some don't.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we know this says most Flash games develop in 3 months. I mean, I think years ago we developed a formula when we were making Flash games professionally, which we still do, but that most games are made within 3 months, and I'm not surprised to see that
1 to 3 months.
1 to 3 month is still the limit here.
About 23% of the games that Mochi gets, or that the respondents talked about, were made in less than 1 month, though.
Okay.
And we know there's a lot of one-day games out there.
Yeah, I know. You can tell. And here, 32% of Flash developers are interested in developing the iPhone. I mean, that
Obviously.
interests me too. Although, you go look at the iPhone market, and I think it looks even worse than the Flash
there's
market.
some interesting information that Mochi has in here that new talent is flowing into Mochi. 2/3 of the developers are relatively new. Well, for the iPhone market, even though it's been up about a year and a half now, that is even greater.
Yeah.
That is the influx of people trying to make iPhone games is huge. So they're all new developers. Does that mean they're actually new to development? Not necessarily.
Right, but they're new to that type of
maybe they're new
development.
to Flash development, or they're new to iPhone development. They may not be fresh new developers.
Right. So what revenue streams are developers using? Mostly ads and games, and we know that
Ads, and then obviously people are making a lot of lots of
Licensing
people
and
use
sponsorships.
licensing, lots of people use sponsorship, and this is no secret. A lot of people use the ads on their own websites. Interesting that only about 6% at the time of this survey were using microtransactions. That has probably grown a few. But 58% of people rely on ads in their games, and this is a Mochi survey, so obviously that's where they make most of their money.
We got to get to the end of this. How
Okay.
much money do people make each month? This is the most interesting thing to me. Between just less than 500, most people make less than $500.
Yeah, we talked about this.
So that's a big thing here. Not many people make more than that. The average sponsorship $2,000. The average license $800, and you should see. And then this is interesting. There's another side for the publishers, and we'll go quickly down there. For publishers, those numbers are slightly different, which to me is fairly interesting. They say that the average sponsorship is $619, and the average license is $2,000. So it's interesting to see that they have different numbers, depending on who the publishers are that responded.
Yes. Well, let's quickly get to a couple last points on this. One of them is that most developers have only created 1 to 5 games, but there are a lot of developers like us that have a library of 20 or more games.
Right.
We have 20 or more. They have they say more than 11.
Right.
Also, to go step back a little bit, the ComScore data says that this is still a vastly growing industry, full of people that keep on playing games. Mochimedia says that they receive 1.1 billion monthly visitors.
That's fantastic.
That is huge.
Yeah. Monthly visitors?
Monthly visitors.
Wow.
This is what it says. It says Mochimedia pegs a worldwide audience. Excuse me. Go back one. Mochimedia says that the audience is nearly 1.1 billion monthly visitors based on visits to their games.
Okay.
Not to Mochimedia pages, but the
To the
Mochimedia
games,
games. That's huge, and a lot of money is going to be flowing into this market with Mochi serving to 30,000 websites.
Okay, that's cool. Let's quickly look at this game. All right, we can't really cover this game that we thought. This is Public Library by what's the name of this publisher?
I don't know, but they're hilarious.
Really quick. Well, I can't remember who the publisher is right now. It's IDK Widge Games. Anyway, we're going to cover their entire set of games next
Because they're hilarious.
because they're absolutely hilarious. So this is just a slight preview. We'll take you out on it.
Recent budget cuts in Great Northeast Municipal Library. We've had to combine with other public services. After working with Animal Control, we are proud to welcome our newest staff members, the duck janitor, the chimp accountant, and the bear librarian. Animal staff cost a fraction of human costs and only has marginal liability issues. A word of caution, don't eat the animal. Enjoy your time at Maurice Municipal Library.
All right, that's enough. That's a little preview. We're gonna cover a bunch of games for this company in a part 2.